Unit 8 is Writing for Professional Purposes, Part 2. There are 5 topics that will be discussed in this unit. We'll learn how to write CVs. We'll learn about the differences between a CV and a resume. We'll learn how to write a formal letter. We'll learn about blocks and etiquette or netiquette in writing. What is a CV or a resume? Both are documents that cover your education and work experience. Using one can help you get a job in your field or obtain a higher degree. Curriculum vitae, that is the expansion of CV. In Latin, it means course of life, and it's often shortened to CV. It is basically a summary of your career, your education. A curriculum vitae or a CV is a massive document, and it gets longer as you get more work experience or get more educational qualifications. On the other hand, resume is comparatively shorter and can always change. One significant difference between a CV and a resume is the function. Many people in academia use a CV because it shows all of the person's accomplishments. That way they can land a position teaching or researching at a college or university. So academics usually use a CV. However, a resume functions a little differently. While a resume can help you land a job, it's more common to use a resume for a non-academic job. Suppose you want to work as a chef in a hotel. You will use a resume, not a CV. A resume is specifically designed for a particular job. So you want to apply for the position of an accountant in one office, you prepare a resume according to that job. You want to work in a bank, your resume will automatically change. A curriculum vitae more often than not remains the same. Whether you want to work for a major corporation or a small business, a resume is a great tool to use. Another functional difference is that CVs or curriculum vitae are based on your credentials, while resume are based on your competency and skills. So CVs are more based on your educational qualifications and work experience, but resume will focus more on your competency, your skills. Both have a purpose, but one might be more important for an application than the other. It depends on where you want to apply this or use this. What about the length? I had mentioned this earlier. The length, CV's length is slightly longer. It might be a few pages or a few dozen pages. As someone gains more credentials and experience, the CV will get longer. It covers everything someone has ever done in their professional life. It means course of life, right? So it'll be long. On the other hand, a resume is almost always a page or two. 1 or 2 pages, that's it. Because you're focusing on a particular job, right? So you are describing your competency or skill for that particular job. Some employers don't want a resume that's longer than 1 page. You can still showcase your experience in a resume, but you need to be concise and consider what is most important. Some resumes can be longer, but they are mostly shorter than CVs. And the difference in length can make it much easier to create a resume than a CV. Now, what about the information part? Because of the difference in length, you don't have to worry about what to include in a CV. If you are gone to an event or given a presentation, you can include that because you are going to mention all the important accomplishments, your educational qualifications in your CV. So you don't have to think whether should I include this or not. You can. The same is true for any certifications you obtain or jobs you have. When writing a CV, you can still include some information. However, you may not be able to include every job you or every degree you have earned. Your resume is a highlight. It's a highlight reel of your career, and it need to make you look like the perfect candidate, because you just have one page to do it in. You just have one page, and you have to make sure that the employer feels, yes, this is the person I want to employ. So it must be concise, precise, to the point. Both a CV and a resume should contain your name and contact information, without which how the hell are they going to contact you? They might also include your education and work experience. However, a resume may not include as many certifications or activities you have done. So that is the most important point with regard to the information presented in a resume and a CV. Specificity. Another major difference between a CV and a resume is how specific each document is. If you use a CV, you can use the same document for every job. It's kind of multi-purpose, or you can apply it for any research position that you apply for. You will need to update it regularly, yes, because you go for a seminar, you present a paper, automatically you have to update that. On the other hand, a resume is more specific. For each job, you have to prepare a specific resume. Whether you want to move up in a company or switch fields, your resume should help achieve that goal. You should adjust your resume objective to highlight certain skills that will help you succeed in different jobs. Using a resume can be great if you want to get a job outside of your field. One of the best resume building tips is to focus on how you are a good fit for that job. So you need to convince the employer, yes, this person is the right person for that job or for that position. What about the format? When comparing a curriculum vitae versus a resume, you should think about the format, because a CV is an overview of your entire life. They are almost always chronological, means your first achievement comes first, then comes the one after that. So it's arranged in a chronological order. That way you can add new accomplishments as they happen. If you choose to use a resume, you can also make it chronological, but a functional resume is a great option if you don't have much job experience. So you just completed your degree, then you don't have any experience. So what will you write in the place where you need to write that experience part? You don't have any experience. So you can focus on your competency, your skills. So you can use a functional format to showcase relevant skills that will help you get the job. Another option is to combine a chronological and functional resume. That way you can include your work experience and highlight any relevant skills or certifications you have. The formats for CVs and resumes can change. Some people mention their accomplishments which they have earned recently at first, then the later one, and go on. So your first accomplishment or your first job will get mentioned at the end. It all depends on how you want to plan your CVs or your resumes. Okay, you can search the net and then you'll get plenty of formats. There is no one correct format. Of course, for your examination, you might be asked to write a CV or a resume and apply for a job. So you'll need to write a covering letter and then write a CV. So in that you can just you can mention the basic facts of your life. You mention your personal details and then the different parts of the CV. I'll get to that. In Kerala, we use the term biodata a lot. It's a short form for biographical data with emphasis on personal particulars like date of birth, sex, nationality, marital status, and so on. It has a specific format. So usually it will be a form and then you're asked to fill up your biodata. It is outdated. I don't think any company or any firm or any job really asks for the biodata. People usually use the terms CV or resumes more than the term biodata. But then it's still the Some people also use the biodata, but then it's more about your biographical information, or your height, your weight, and your sex, or your basic details. Resume, on the other hand, is an advertising tool for selling oneself as the most qualified candidate. So you are actually giving the best details about you for a particular job. All right. What are the components that you need to give in a CV or curriculum vitae? Personal details. Yes, it is vital that the reader can spot at a glance not only your name, but also precisely how to get in contact with you. So you need to give a correct phone number, your correct email address, and your correct address. Professional profile. It's a brief statement at the very beginning of a CV which conveys the reader an overall impression of your key personal and professional characteristics. Then comes the objectives part. The task of the objective section is to explain your preferred career direction and details on what you hope to achieve from your future career. What is your objective in taking up this career? So you have to explain that. Just by looking at the objective, the person hiring you can understand, okay, this person has this aim or goal in mind. So yes, he or she fits with what the employer wants. While writing an objective statement, you should write down the types of positions, types of organizations or settings, and specific skills you want to use or develop in your next job. Now look at this CV or a resume objective for a teaching position. So you are applying for a teaching job, and this is one example for how to write the objective. An organized professional with proven teaching, guidance, and counseling skills. You don't really use the words I am an organized professional with, no, you don't do that. It is written from a third person point of view. The sentences are precise and they describe your goals. They need not be from a personal perspective. An organized professional with proven teaching, guidance, and counseling skills. Yes, that describes you. Then, possess a strong track record in improving test scores and teaching effectively. So you have been teaching well, and your students always get good marks. So you have a proper track record. So look at how that sentence is crafted. Possess a strong track record in improving test scores and teaching effectively. You don't write, I possess a strong track record. No, don't do that. You might say that for an interview, but then when writing the objective, you just stick to the basic description of your skill. Then, ability to be a team player and resolve problems and conflicts professionally. You are working in an organization and you will have conflicts with many people, with your colleagues, with your boss. So how do you resolve them? Do you go about punching everybody's noses, or are you able to work around a problem or work with the team to solve a problem? So organizations or any firm looks for people who can actually solve problems. People don't want problem makers, they want problem solvers. So ability to be a team player and resolve problems and conflicts professionally. Then have the ability to communicate complex information in a simple and entertaining manner. This usually happens with in most firms. You'll have people reading all kinds of data, all kinds of information, and nobody has a clue what the hell this person is saying. So only a person who has a good grasp of what he or she is communicating will be able to communicate it in a simple manner. So that's a skill that everyone should look to achieve. Are you able to communicate things in a simple manner? So have the ability to communicate complex information in a simple and entertaining manner. Looking to contribute my knowledge and skills in a school that offers a genuine opportunity for career progression. Now, the last line of this objective is actually an appeal to the organization. What are you looking for? He or she, this person is looking for an opportunity to contribute her knowledge. So, are you that school that is going to, who needs my expertise? Looking to contribute my knowledge and skills in a school that offers a genuine opportunity for career progression. Look at that. That line hooks the person who is going to read that. Ah, yes, we are a genuine school. This person looks genuine. Let's hire this person. I will read another career objective. Now, this is for a job as an accountant. Certified public accountant with 5 years of experience of ledger processes, reconciliations, and streamlining reports. So in the first line, you mention your years of experience. Possess an MBA. So that's the most relevant qualification for this particular job. You don't have to mention MBA, B.Ed, BSc. No. What is the most relevant qualification for this particular job? You mention that in your objective. Seeking to leverage my professional expertise and experience into a managerial role as a corporate banker. So this person is looking for a managerial post. That is mentioned in the objective here. Not some random post, but the managerial post. That is why the qualification MBA fits well with this. See, I have an MBA, so I am looking for a managerial post. Now, in a CV, you need to mention your educational qualifications. So after objective, you can mention this educational qualification. This part includes descriptions of your qualifications, the dates you received your qualifications. Be specific. You have to be very specific when you mention the dates. Sometimes you might miss out on years. You did your degree in 2006 and then you took a 2-year gap and then you joined for your post-graduation. So your employer might ask you what happened in those 2 years. So you need to be ready with an answer, a positive answer. Then you need to mention your grades or your class marks, whatever you have achieved. Never round off the marks. Suppose you get 65.4%, do not write 66%. You have to be exact, because in most job interviews or also and also for applying for some kind of a written test, they look for the exact marks. And if you are found to have manipulated it, either reduce it or increase it, then things might get complicated. So always mention the exact marks. Then you need to mention the names of the institutions where you have studied. Then you need to mention about the special certificates or licenses or additional training that you have received. After that, you can mention your career history or your work experience. Now for this, you start with your present or your most recent job and work all the way back to your first job. So you want to show them that, yes, recently I have worked in this place. And then you trace your history to your first job. Then you can write about your key skills. A key skills section is a summary of the main skills and abilities you are offering to a prospective employer. You can include your communication skills, interpersonal skills, administrative skills, organizational skills, presentation, etc. Then achievements. In this section, you can highlight your personal, professional and academic achievements. Suppose you have won some kind of an award in school or in college or at the university level, you can mention that. Then interests and activities. You can simply summarize your interests and extracurricular activities in this section, such as sports, acting, dancing, painting, creative writing. Whatever your interests, you can mention that. And always keep the job that you're applying for in your mind. If it relates to it, then do say something about that. For somebody who has just completed their degree or their postgraduate course, you might not have any kind of experience working in any college or firm or any institution for that matter. So what you can focus is on whether you have taken part in some kind of your club activities in school or in your college days, or have you been part of some kind of an organization. You can mention that. Have you done some kind of volunteer work when you were part of the school and your college? So these are points which you can include in your resume or your curriculum vitae. Whatever you have done, whatever you have achieved, you can mention that. Because for somebody who has just completed their education as a graduate or a postgraduate, work experience is one area which you will struggle on. You don't have an experience, so you can work on other aspects in which so that you can convince the employer about your skill set. What are your interests? What have you done? What can you do? Just try to convince them of your potential based on what you did in your school and your college days. You will also see a term called testimonial. What is that? A testimony. In the context of a job search, a testimonial is a document of recorded statements that supports your level of expertise, experience, and credibility. It can be written by a school teacher, a university professor, or your previous employer. It's meant to position you as a viable candidate in the job. You can ask the principal of your institution to write a testimonial for you. So by reading the testimonial, yes, the employer can figure out that this person is reliable. He or she has a track record of getting tasks done and has been doing good things in wherever this person has worked or studied. References also work in the same manner. The referees listed should be willing to confirm your claims. So you write the names of two people as references. Then you must inform those people that, sir or ma'am, I have mentioned you as my references. I'm applying for this job. If they get in touch with you, do talk to them. So when the employer calls these people, they will say, he or she is a good person. You can employ him. I have a personal experience with working with this person. Then what is the difference between a recommendation and a reference letter? Reference and recommendation letters are testimonials, but they serve slightly different purposes. A reference letter is a general endorsement of an individual's experience, knowledge, skill set, and character. These are perfect for the first time job seekers like fresh graduates looking for job opportunities. You don't have any work experience with you, so you can ask your teachers to give you a testimonial. Often for such candidates, reference letters are written by their past internship organizations towards the end of their contract or academic professors just before graduation. On the other hand, recommendation letters are specifically tailored for a job opportunity. It is written by a credible individual whose recommendation is more likely to be acknowledged by a prospective employer based on his or her credentials. We often look down upon recommendations. I don't need the recommendation of any person. But for certain jobs, you'll need recommendations. So yes, when we hear the term recommendation, it sounds like we are being manipulative. But then certain jobs, they require a recommendation letter from particular experts in fields. So only with one recommendation letter will you be able to get those jobs. So in those cases, then you will need a recommendation letter. There's no other way.